What is up, friends? Greg Newmaster here, coming at you with another toy review. Thundercats, ho! Yeah, that was dorky. But what I want to say is Super 7 toy company is coming out with, praise God, a second wave of Thundercats figures. They're doing a first wave, which I think is being released in April. And then they're coming out with a second wave that includes Mumra, Tigra, a new Pumaira with shorter legs so she's not 8 feet tall, towering over the male Thundercats, and a personal favorite of mine, Groon the Destroyer. So I felt in this video I would review the Mattel version of the Club Third Earth Lion-O and compare it to what is going to be coming out with the ultimate version of Lion-O, and letting you guys know if I'm going to buy it and if I think you guys should buy it. So let's get into this. So I want to tell you guys, Thundercats was my favorite cartoon as a small child. When it came out, I mean, that opening crawl, when the song kicks in and you see Lion-O and he summons the Thundercats and it flashes to their heads. I mean, that's one of the greatest animated beginnings of a TV show I've ever seen. And the reason why it's so great, and I didn't understand it at the time, is because it's Japanese anime. That was my first real exposure to Japanese anime, and it was that opening crawl, because Thundercats was animated in Japan, which is incredible. So here I have Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats, my favorite Thundercat, I think everybody's favorite Thundercat. So they've tried a few times now in the recent past to come out with these action figures, and we had the awesome Masters of the Universe classics. Bandai came out with Thundercats figures, which were pretty good, I might say, and I'm going to compare this Mattel version with that version. But every time they came out with the figures, they didn't complete the series, which is infuriating. So we had Bandai came out with I think they were 9 inches, which I hated, by the way. They came out with a 9-inch line of Thundercats classics, and there was Lion-O and Tigra, and they were great looking figures, but they were 9 inches, and they didn't complete them. Then Mattel did the Club Third Earth thing, and they came out with what we see here, which is an excellent Lion-O figure. It's an excellent figure. I love it. I'm so happy to have it. But they did not finish the line. They only came out with one wave, which was horrible. So thank goodness we have a company like Super 7 that it seems like they're all fans, and they just want to make toys that they want to have, and so they're coming out with that second wave, and they're going to come out with that first wave, pretty much copying the first wave of what Mattel already put out with Club Third Earth, but they're going to make it their ultimate versions, as they did with the Masters of the Universe, which were really awesome. So let's kick this off and get a look at Lion-O here, which is sick. Oh, I love this. So I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about sculpt, articulation, paints, and accessories. So let's start with the sculpt. So if you look at that face there, I don't want to get him out of focus. Now, I want to say, to me, this face is reminiscent of the Thundercat comic book. So maybe like 10 years ago now, they did a whole line of Thundercats comic books with Wildstorm Comics. And Ed McGuinness, very famous comic book artist, he did Superman for a long time, had the first crack at the Thundercats. And this looks like his style to me. But also, there was another great Thundercats artist, Masters of the Universe artist as well, and his name is Freddie E. Williams II, and he was responsible for doing the series of He-Man Thundercats, which was awesome. If you don't have that graphic novel, or if you didn't collect just the single books, get them. It's just stunning artwork. I'll show you right here. So as we compare the sculpt, look, this is Freddie Williams II, and that's his lino. I'm not gonna crack them open because that'll just take too long. And here's McGuinness. Now look at Lino's build. He's real thick. He's real bulky. Very stacked there. Here's sort of a close-up of his face. Here's another issue with the rest of the Thundercats. So you guys get the picture. So I'm going to say the face is more in the style of maybe Freddie Williams. But, you know, the Masters of the Universe Classics line, which the Thundercats Classics line is modeled on, they have the same body mold. It's very stocky, very jacked, steroidal looking even, which is more reminiscent of what Ed McGuinness's looks like. So I'm going to say that's the sculpt, and I like it. But I don't think, you know, I don't think it's exactly the way Lion-O was built in the cartoon. He was buff. He was very buff, but he was a little bit leaner. So I'm going to just nitpick about the sculpt in regards to that. But as I'm looking at this, I mean, the hair is just beautifully sculpted. Like, if you look at the eyes and the eyebrows, I mean, it's just, they did such a good job with this. And I'm so thankful that they did this. Like, just look at that. Look at the amount of detail they put in the head there. All those lines, like that would take a very long time to sculpt. And yeah, and if you have any Masters of the Universe Classics, you know, you're used to this body mold. Look at the logo there, even. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Yeah, so even the logo looks really nice. Lino's face and eyes, just very, very well done. It's good paint. I'm not seeing any shading though. So in terms of like Marvel Legends and things like that, there's not really any shading. Also, my camera is kind of changing the color a little bit, but it looks in person. So Lion-O kind of has, like, there's variances of color, like, between his forearms and wrists and hands, and he's even supposed to have more, it's sort of like a 5 o'clock shadow, but it's, like, yellow, like, around his lips and his chin, under his nose. So the paint kind of blends a little bit, so I hope with the Super 7 Ultimate Lion-O, they fixed that a little bit. So as I was looking at the pictures, you can look at them all over online. You can look at them on Super 7's website. The colors do look a little bit better. The sculpt looks exactly the same. The only difference I'm going to say is they give you another head. So they give you an angry, growly face. And they give you way more accessories, which is something I'm very excited about. So I'm gonna take the sword out for a moment. I'll go over that when I go over accessories. I'm gonna take the claw shield off. And okay. All right, so let's go over the articulation. Articulation is a very big deal to me. So we got, head can go up about that far. It can go down, can't really go down. If I push it down, it just kind of goes up. So it doesn't really go down. Got side to side, we can go 360 there. We got really good shoulder joints on this one. They're very tight, mind you, too. We can go up over his head. So if you want to do the Thundercats hoe kind of pose where he's holding the shield, you can definitely maneuver that. Okay. We don't have a great range in the elbows. It's only 90 degrees, which is very unfortunate. I'm a huge fan of double jointed elbows and knees, and this figure does not have that. So that is a bummer. We have rotation in the wrist. We also have wrist articulation, so you can bend the wrist up and down, but they did a bad job on this because the peg should actually go here, like right there, so he can kind of point the sword forward, because that's a big thing that Lion-O does when he does the Thundercats hoe, when he calls them. We got bicep swivel, very important in toys now. There he is in the back. The underwear is a very soft plastic, so that's cool. It kind of hides and streamlines the legs more, so they don't have like clunky looking weird hips. So the leg can only raise about that far. Now, remember, Lion-O's a humanoid cat. That's what the Thundercats are, so they should be very agile and flexible. So he can only kick his leg up that high, so that's not a very flexible cat. That's more like a fat Garfield cat who just sits around and eats cat Twinkies all day. We got ab crunch. Ab crunch goes down about that much, goes up about that much. Not very much at all, but at least you have it. I don't like figures that have it. We got the waist swivel, so that's good. I don't like it with some of these newer figures. They'll kind of put the twisting motion in the torso, and they'll just put it in the ab crunch. They did that with the DC icons. I don't like that. I like when they have this cut in the waist. Just makes for better posing, you know. Collectors, they want great posing. Action figure companies, like, get that in your mind. Like, articulation is the new wave. This is we're in the roaring 20s now, so step your game up, okay? Every collector's action figure should be highly articulated. It's unacceptable if it isn't. So we got a little bit of movement in the thighs, which is great. So here's the knees. Not good. Boo. Boo. Shame, Mattel. Unfortunately, I don't think Super 7 is going to improve on any of this articulation-wise. We got swivel in the boot. You know, I don't know how I feel about having swivel in the calf, you know, in the boot. I guess it's okay, but I think maybe it would be better in the ankle sometimes. We got ankle up and down. We got ankle pivot, which is a great innovation in the action figures, so you can give them Give him a wide stance. You can give him a battle stance. So that's fantastic. Real quick, I didn't even talk about the box. Like I said, I'm not a box guy. So this is the original box of the Mattel figure. Very nice. You kind of get this awesome sleeve, and I love it. I love how they have Cat's lair in the background. Now, if there is one play set I have wanted them to redo, I even thought about building one myself, just because Cat's lair is so awesome. Like, if you look at the big giant paw here, the paw would lift up on the show, and the Thunder Tank would come charging out. There's that one episode where Monkeyin gets these magic balls, and he becomes gigantic, and he attacks Cat's lair, and he punches a hole through the face here. So cool. Super 7, if you're listening, if you watch my video, please, I'm begging you, make Cat's lair. I saw you just made Snake Mountain. Please, we need a Cat's lair. Make an awesome one. I know you can do it. It is just probably one of the greatest play sets. But here's the box. Black, Lino. We got Cat's lair. Oh, baby. Nothing on the back. We got Lino's face there. This is just a sleeve. There's my childhood Thunder Tank there. When you take the sleeve off, he's in there. Get that. Get another picture. Very beautiful artwork on the back. You get Lino's face. You can read that on your own later. Here's what it says. If you want to read it, you can pause that and read it. Very nice. Nice box. But it's a box. We don't care about the box. So, back to our figure. So we got Lino. Now, let's talk about Lino's most important accessory, the Sword of Omens. The Sword of Omens, the ultimate deus ex machina of any Thundercats episode, because the Sword of Omens, if they wrote themselves into a corner, just use the Sword of Omens, because it could literally do anything. Alright, so let's check this Sword of Omens out here. This is great. It's a good sword. It's pretty awesome Sword of Omens. But the blade is really fat. The Sword of Omens in the comics, on the show, most importantly, it was very sleek and slender. And so we have, I don't know if you guys can see that, but we got the green shading. Now my sword, the Mattel version, see that? It's indented. It's indented right where the cat logo is. That's bad. That's very bad. So I hope they fix that on the Super 7 version, which in the promotional material, it looks like they do. So that is a big plus. The other thing is the blade was always whitish on the show. It wasn't silver. Also, there was details on the hilt, jewels and rubies like on the bottom. So, maybe Super 7 will go more detailed. Maybe they won't. I hope so, because it's going to be a little bit of a pricey figure. But I want to compare this Sword of Omens to the Bandai Sword of Omens. And I'm also going to show you guys the Bandai Lionos, so we can compare too. But so here is this is the Bandai and the Mattel Sword of Omens, and I actually think the Mattel, or the Bandai Sword of Omens, that's this one, is more accurate. It's more accurate. The logo is painted nicely. It doesn't indent. It's more sleek. It doesn't have a good point on the tip. But it's actually a more accurate Sword of Omens. So hopefully, I think Super 7 is going to correct that. So there is that. We also get the Sword of Omen's dagger. I gotta say that the Sword of Omens on the Thundercats is probably the coolest sword in pop culture. It was awesome. Like it started out as this tiny little dagger, and he would stick it in his claw shield and carry it around with him, and it would transform into this awesome blade when he, called out the, Thundercats Ho chant, and it was just such an awesome thing to watch as a kid. It's still awesome now. Just great voice acting. I mean, it's a little cheesy now, like the line delivery, but it was just so cool. They need to bring that show back, and not the stupid Thundercats Roar thing that they just released. That's just a complete joke. But like, take it serious, bring it back. They were on the right track with what they were doing with the new television series in 2011. But just bring back the original show just as it was. Try to copy it as much as you can, but just improve upon it. That's what the comic books did. So there's the dagger. Also, the dagger can go into the claw shield. The claw shield. Now, I got a couple things to say about the claw shield. And this is one of the reasons why I want to get the Super 7 version, the Ultimate version. So, it comes with 2 claw shields. Very unnecessary. In this claw shield, there's like a little nub of the dagger version of the Sword of Omen sticking out. It's stupid. You don't need 2 of these. That's overkill. This is what it's supposed to do anyhow. Also, so the only other hand accessory, he comes with another, it's another left hand. It's his left hand. It's, the right hand from us viewing it. But he comes with pretty much 4 left hands. 2 claw shields, 2 left hands. It's like, you don't need that many left hands. And it's like, well, what if something happens to the right hand? Give us more right hands, which I think Super 7 is going to do anyhow. So this, if you look, there's a peg right inside there. I don't like that. I understand why they did it, and it's not bad, but I liked actually the original LJN toy, how it just kind of clamped, like you would clamp it on, and it would cover his hand instead of porting in. But, I gotta say, this claw shield is awesome. It's really well sculpted. I like the way that it looks like an actual lion's paw. And the jewels look cool. Just the hand positioning looks cool. That's pretty badass. The claw shield was the other big weapon Lionel always had. But this is not an accurate claw shield. This is like their take on it. The claw shield on the show and in the comics was more metallic looking. So in this instance, let me show you. This is the Bandai version. And the Bandai version is not as detailed, mind you. But it's a little bit more accurate. Real quick, let's take a look at this Bandai version. This is Bandai. They did a smaller version of Lion-O to correct the mistake of the 9-inch one. However, they gave him just a stupid yelling face, and that's all they gave him, and I hated that. I wanted a neutral face. I don't want him in this like angry yelling face the whole time. But I gotta say, Bandai's articulation is way better than Mattel's, and probably what Super 7 is going to be. Look at that. We got all that. We got double jointed knees. However, like, look, you can see the screws and stuff. So it's a lot more sloppy. Look, even bad paint. I didn't even like paint the joints blue so you can see everything. So they didn't try as hard. And they put this little hanging thing on. We'll get to that in a second. But so Lion-O would always take his claw shield off, and it Oh, crap. I think I just broke that. But anyhow, he'd take the claw shield off, and he'd stick it to his leg when he wasn't using it. And it was awesome because it would just, like, suction to his leg. So the toy companies have tried to, look, double-jointed knees. I really, really wish this guy in the Super 7 version would have double-jointed elbows and knees. Let me just get that to focus there. But anyhow, as I was saying, let me see if I can get that to focus. Okay. As I was saying, he would take the claw shield off and put it on his leg, just like that. Now, they give you that with this second claw shield, but it's so stupid. Do you see this little, see that little blue tab there? You're supposed to port it onto this little peg, and I think the Super 7 version is going to have the same exact thing. Just dumb. It's okay, it works, but if I were them, what I would do is I would take a magnet, and I would put a magnet right here, put it right there in that spot, put a little chunk of metal on Lionel's thigh, and just magnetize it, and just pop it on right there. And then it would be just like the show. Easy fix. But anyhow, with this Lionel, I always have the claw shield on anyhow. The claw shield, and I love how he just like holds it in there like that. That's so badass. Just keeps it in there like that. So that is that. Like I said, we got two other hands. And that's all you get with this guy. You get the two swords, the two claw shields, and the two extra hands. You can see those there. Only accessories you get. Now, what is the Super 7 offering? The Super 7 is going to offer, you get 4 claw shields. So you get 2 of these, and then they have made new ones, which are more like this claw shield. So you're going to get 2 of those. And then you also get the Book of Omens, which comes into play towards the end of the show. And, well, actually, maybe it's in the beginning. I can't remember. He uses it to do the trials for him to become king. But anyhow, you're going to get the Book of Omens. They're going to do a new sword. It looks like they're going to do a new paint job. Unfortunately, no new articulation. Hopefully they fix this wrist so it can turn forward like that when he's holding the sword. Instead of going like this, it needs to go down like that. Yeah, so 4 claw shields, 4 hands. You're going to get a couple more of this hand for whatever reason. Book of Omens and the dagger. So, let's compare him to... So this is the Bandai version. The Bandai version is nice. I think they had really good proportions on the Bandai version. It's a really good figure, the Bandai. I really wish they should have completed the team. They didn't. That made me so upset. That made a ton of people upset because there are just so many fans of Thundercats out there. Yeah, so I'm going to say this one has better articulation. This one just looks better. It's sculpted better. It's just beautiful. And here, actually, is the new version. This one actually has it right in terms of holding the sword. So the articulation in the wrist points upwards. So he can do the Thundercats ho pose. So... And there is his claw shield, which was way more metallic looking. They kind of gave... in the new version, they redesigned their clothing. Also, you know, Lion-O in the original series had the mind of a child because his body grew because his suspended animation capsule broke. So he continued to age while they were traveling to Third Earth. In the new show, Lion-O was just a teenager, which was fine. That was cool. It would have been cool to see what he would have been like when he grew up. But they redesigned their outfit, so instead of getting this sexy belly shirt in the original one, showing off the abs, we get full-on armor. And they played around with that too on the show, where almost like the armor formed around Lion-O, and he had like a mech suit. Kind of going off of the Deus Ex Machina theme of the Sword of Omens, being able to just get them out of any plot problems that they have. But hey, it was a kid's show. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So there are those Lion-Os. You know, unfortunately, I was looking for my original Lion-O, and I couldn't find him. I found my Panthro, and I found my original Thunder Tank, which is actually kind of crusty and old and dirty. I actually painted the logo a long time ago, and I have the treads still. These treads like rot, but mine are stapled together and taped. But I got the Thunder Tank. That is another thing, Super 7, you have to do. Though this Thunder Tank is awesome. Look at that. You know, if they re-sculpted this Thunder Tank for this line of figures, that would just be incredible. So in conclusion, should you buy the new Super 7 version of Ultimate Lion-O? I would say yes. I'm going to get it just because I want the accessories. I want this new line that's coming out that's going to have Tigra. I already have Panthro and Pumira. It's going to have Tigra, so we're almost to a full team. Super 7, please don't stop. Please make the Thunder Tank. Please make a Chitara figure. Please make Bengali and Linkso. Please make the Lunatax. There's just so many awesome toys that you can make and that people would buy. And make a Thunder Tank. Oh my goodness, please make a Thunder Tank and a Cat Slayer. That would just be a dream come true. So should you buy it? Yeah, buy it. I'm going to buy it. It's great. It's awesome. Look at that. Super 7, they do great work. I have their Ultimate He-Man. Beautiful figure. Maybe I'll review him next. Yeah, so should you get it? Yes, get it. I'm going to get it. Peace, everybody.